Good day, everybody. As promised, we're going to look at the self, no, from the different perspectives. Natapos na natin yung iba. Ngayon naman, sociological perspective. Pag sinabi natin sociology, what comes to your mind? I'm pretty sure hindi ito first time na marinig niyo yung term na sociology. And maybe the first word that comes to your mind would be society, which is not really wrong. No? Let me tell you the definition of what sociology is all about. So allow me to read the definition. Sabi dito, sociology is the science of society, social institutions, and social relationships. Specifically, it is the systematic study of the development, structure, interaction, and collective behavior of organized groups of human beings. Ibig sabihin, pag sinabi natin sociology, it talks about human arrangements, yung mga relationships na meron tayo, how we respond to the environment around us, paano yung interaction natin, paano yung patterns, na meron bang pattern yung mga social relationships natin, how we behave when we are in the middle of a social situation. Kung mapapansin nyo, nung time na philosophy ang pinapag-usapan natin, it's very much centered on the human being, 'di ba? Dun sa tao lang mismo, yung body niya, soul, right? The experiences, the perspective, the brain. Pero this time, we're going out of that person. Titingnan na natin ngayon, meron ba epekto yung mga kasama niya, yung mga nakakasama niya sa pagkatao niya? Kayo ba, do you believe that the other people around you, your parents, your immediate family, yung mga nagpalaki sa inyo, kung hindi si nanay at tatay, meron bang epekto sa pagkatao nyo o kung sino kayo ngayon? 'Di ba? Yung mga barkada nyo nung maliliit pa kayo, hanggang sa crowd na meron kayo ngayon, like your mga kaklase, mga kasection, ganun, meron bang kinalaman sa pagkatao nyo? Are you really shy? Or dahil masyadong dominant yung mga personality ng mga tao sa paligid mo, hindi ka makapag-open up or hindi ka maka-come out of your shell, pero talagang gusto mo na? Or are you really aggressive? Pero baka naman mamaya dahil yung mga tao sa paligid mo ayaw namang mag-step up. Kaya sige ako na lang, no? Kahit ayaw mo naman talaga. So, ibig sabihin, at I'm sure everybody would agree, yung mga tao na pinapakitunguhan natin, mga nakakasama natin, even yung mga nakakasabayan natin sa jeep, may kinalaman, no, kung sino tayo at yung magiging behavior natin, magiging response natin when it comes to social situations. There's a quote here from Jiddu Krishnamurti. It's quite long. Sabi niya, understanding of the self only arises in relationships. In watching yourself in relationship to people, ideas, and things, to trees, the earth, and the world around you and within you. Relationship is the mirror in which the self is revealed. Without self-knowledge, there's no basis for right thought and action. He is an Indian philosopher, no? Sabi niya, the only way that you can understand yourself is when you assess yourself in relationship with other people. Pag nakita mo how you interact with others, how you handle your relationships, that's how you will get an understanding of who you really are. Makes sense, 'di ba? So, bakit nga ba kailangan nating mag-socialize, no? It doesn't mean na dapat lahat tayo ay extrovert. Pero, whether we like it or not, we are bound for relationships naman talaga. Kahit mga introvert, nakikipag-usap din naman, ano? Nakikipag-interact din. And they socialize. Bakit nga ba importante to? Sabi dito, socialization matters because it upholds societies and cultures. And it is also a key part of individual development. Kayo, bakit importante sa inyo that you interact with other people? 'Di ba? Bakit importante na meron kang kausap? Bakit importante na nakikipag-socialize ka? Sa atin kasi, it's a usual thing, 'di ba? Na meron ka laging nakaka-interact. Pero we don't really stop and think about why do we need to do it. 'Di ba? Sabi dito, it's a key part of individual development. Alam niyo ba, na sa mga bata, lalo na sa mga super babies pa lang, very important ang interaction, ang socialization. Because, ayon sa studies, ayon sa research, yung mga bata na may constant socialization, sila yung mas nakaka-hit ng mga markers ng developmental milestones. No, ibig sabihin kung ang expected milestone ng speaking ay at 6 months, yung nagbababble ng mga talk, may hit yun ng someone with constant socialization. Compared dun sa mga bata who are neglected, who are not really, kumbaga, hindi inaalaga ang mabuti dahil busy pareho yung parents o wala talagang available na mag-aalaga. Iba yung level of development. Yes, they learn how to talk, they learn how to walk, pero hindi nila nami-meet, no, yung milestone na dapat by this age or by this month, dapat ito na yung ginagawa mo. So, very important, no, pag tingnan natin, pagdating sa language development, very important na merong ka-socialize ang isang bata dahil una pa lang, ang gagaling ng mga baby sa imitation. So, pag sinabi nilang mama, papa, 'di ba? Meron yung factor na dahil lagi silang may nakakausap. Paano kung ang isang bata, ang babysitter niya ay si Peppa Pig? Kilala niyo ba si Peppa Pig? Yung British accent na baboy, 'di ba? Mommy, Daddy, o, diba? Nangyayari talaga to na ang babysitter ay YouTube. Nakakalungkot, no? Because I know two cases na yung dalawang bata ay mahilig kay Peppa Pig. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Peppa Pig. I love Peppa Pig. Now, yung isang bata na laging nanonood ng Peppa Pig, pag nanonood siya, kasama niya yung nanay niya. So, pagka may ganap kay Peppa Pig, tapos parang medyo vague pa for a little child to understand, ang gagawin ng nanay niya, in-explain. Sabi niya lang, ganito yung nangyari, kaya sinabi nung daddy ni Peppa Pig na okay lang, ganun. Ngayon, dun sa kabilang banda naman, yung isang bata na mahilig din kay Peppa Pig, dahil busy nga yung parents niya, iuupo lang siya sa harapan ng TV, naka-on yung YouTube, tapos, ayun na, maghapon or buong umaga, buong hapon na siya kay Peppa Pig. Now, sa tingin nyo, sino sa kanila o sino dun sa dalawang bata yung mas merong comprehension pagdating sa mga nakikita, sino yung mas napoproseso niya, ganon, sino yung kapag ka may tinanong ka makakasagot, right? Obviously, it's the first child kasi may follow-up lagi Meron siyang, may kaakibat na socialization yung mga nakikita niya, na-explain ng nanay niya. Alam niyo, yung second child, pag tinanong niyo siya ng anything, in English, kasi nga English ang nakasanayan, sasagot naman, no? Tapos yung iba, English, hindi ko namin maintindihan. Pero ang totoo nun, hindi talaga nila maiintindihan dahil yung bata, magsasabi lang siya ng random stuff in English. Walang masyadong comprehension, hindi nag-uunawaan ng bata kung ano yung nangyayari, kung ano yung tinatanong sa kanya. The communication is only one way. Kasi gano'n naman yung sa TV, di ba? Finifeed ka lang, pero wala kang say. Alright? Halimbawa naman, meal time, no? Ang isang bata na lumaki sa isang family setup, no matter how imperfect, meron siyang nakakausap pag meal time. Kamusta yung school mo? Eto, kumain ka na. Merong socialization, di ba? Doon naman tayo lagi nagagather. Lalo tayong mga Pilipino, napakahiling nating kumain. Now, compare it with the situations of the children na nasa isang institution. Halimbawa, nasa isang bahay ampunan. Do you think that the caregiver who's paid to stay there for like 8 to 5 will really take time to sit down and ask them, how was your day? Siguro meron, no? Merong iilan. Pero not everybody. It's not instinctual. Sa parents kasi, natural yun nalalabas. Kamustahin mo yung anak mo. Pero dun sa mga workers who are paid to feed these children during mealtime, siguro it's way overboard their job description, right? So, walang magtatanong kung kamusta sila, ang gagawin is, kukunin yung food, ilalagay sa harapan, o ubusin mo yan, ganun lang, walang masyadong socialization, walang masyadong interaction. So, ang concern ng sociology is the way that other people influence our behavior patterns. So, yung bang the way that you are right now, ma-attribute nyo ba yon sa mga tao sa paligid nyo? Like what I said in the beginning, no? The way that you are raised by your parents or your primary caregiver, malaki ang impluensya nun sa kung sino ka ngayon, no? Kung masyado silang mahigpit, malamang it's either ikaw ay sobrang sobrang follower ka rin dahil natatakot kang mapagalitan, gano'n, dahil gano'n dun sa household nyo. Or ngayon, dahil malaki ka na, dahil sobrang higpit nila noon, ikaw naman ngayon ay excited na mag-explore. Minsan nga lang sobra kasi ngayon mo lang na-feel yung kalayaan eh. So, nakita nyo yun, iba-iba tayo ng background, iba-iba tayo ng experiences. Now, ang sinasabi lang ng sociology is that other people has an effect, no, on who you are. Now, may pag-uusapin tayong 3 tao lang naman, 3 lang. Unahin na natin siya, naalala nyo ba siya? Si Sigmund Freud. Ngayon, kung sa philosophical perspective, ang sinasabi niya is all about the id, ego, superego, tapos may conscious, unconscious, subconscious. Now, meron siya ngayong sinasabi. Sabi ni Freud, in terms of this sociological perspective, ang sinasabi niya, ang pag-develop ng isang tao ay may stages, may level-level yan. So, he divided the maturation process into stages and posited that people's self-development is closely linked to their early stages of development. Sinasabi niya na whatever happens in your past, no, dun habang nagde-develop ka, it will have an effect on your life long term. Okay? May mga stages siyang pinrovide. So, sinasabi niyo doon, failure to properly engage in or disengage from a specific stage results in emotional and psychological consequences throughout adulthood. So, yun yung sinasabi doon. If you are fulfilled in that stage, okay, you will be a fulfilled adult then. Pero kung halimbawa, you have failure in satisfying that particular stage, matadala mo yung mga consequences nun later in your life as an adult. So, tignan natin ngayon, ano ba yung mga stage na sinasabi ni Freud? And remember, dahil nga sociological perspective to, sa bawat stage na meron tayo, o sa bawat stage na pagdadaanan ng isang tao, may kinalaman dito yung mga taong nakaka-interact. Kaya nandito rin si Freud sa sociological perspective. So, tignan natin yung mga different stages. Here is Sigmund Freud's psychosexual stages. Kasi si Freud lagi talagang related into mga sexual stuff, libido, mga ganyan, mga drives, sex drives. Now, ang naming din niya ng mga stages, ganun din, In stage 1 or the first stage, it is called the oral stage. Tingnan natin ang malupit-lupit to. So, ang age range ng oral stage ay 0 to 1 year old. Bakit nga ba? Ano bang nangyayari pag stage na to? Children derive pleasure from oral activities including sucking and tasting. They like to put things in their mouth. Very basic. Diba ang 0 to 1 year old na kakapanganak lang hanggang sa natututo ng mag-interact with the world, talagang ang ginagawa niya lagi is nagsasak siya, nagtitaste siya ng mga bagay-bagay. Di ba may mga toys na hindi pwede sa 0 to 3? Kasi, ano bang tawag dito? Masyadong maliit, masyadong baka may toxic paint, ganyan-ganyan. Dahil nga mahilig silang magsubo. So, hindi safe for them. Dahil pag sinabing oral, what's the body part that is being highlighted? Yung mouth, 'di ba? Kaya lahat sinusubo nila. Gusto nila dun sa area ng mouth masatisfy. Now, what if hindi nangyari, yung satisfaction dun sa area ng mouth na yon? Ang sinasabi ni Sigmund Freud, again, kapag nagkaroon ng disengagement from that stage, from one stage, you will carry the consequences later in life. So, paglaki ng batang to, most probably, hahanap siya ng mga ways in order to satisfy that area. So, what am I saying? Posibleng mag-engage siya into activities that will provide satisfaction in the mouth area such as smoking, diba? Sige, vaping. Pwede rin siyang maging obsessed with food. Bakit? Ano bang gumagana kapag ikaw ay nag-overeat, diba? It's the mouth. Pwede rin na sobrang daldal, ganun. Kasi yun yung nasa-satisfy, yun yung gumagalaw, diba? Yung mouth area. So, if there is this engagement in the oral stage, so paglaki ng adult ay magkakaroon siya ng seeking ways on how to satisfy that mouth, no? In whatever ways he can. Okay? So, punta naman tayo sa susunod, no? The anal stage. Pag sinabing anal, anong parte ng katawan? Diba? The anus or the anus. Okay? Ang age range nito ay 2 to 3 years old. And at this age, children begin potty training. And ang ibig sabihin ng potty training is that nagta-transition ka na from diapers or from lampin into the toilet. No? Doon ka na magwiwiwi, doon ka na magpupupo. Now, when we talk about anus or the anus, we're talking about release. 'Di ba? Ano bang ginagawa ng puwet? Yun lang naman, 'di ba? Nagre-release siya ng gas. It could be gas, it could be your waste, right? Talking about release. And ang potty training is really a messy stage. Lalo yung mga bata na talagang hindi pa naman sila aware sa mga cues ng katawan nila na eto nalalabas na yung pupo or lalabas na yung wiwi, basta na lang lumalabas yun eh. Now, for someone na nagpa-potty train pa lang, sisimula pa lang, tapos yung mommy niya busy or yung mommy niya siguro preoccupied, whoever is taking care of that child, every time magwiwiwi siya or magpupupo siya na hindi sa toilet, lagi siyang napapagalitan. Every time he tries to release, it is met with rejection. Ganun ang peg. No? So, ang nangyayari, yung bata, hinuhold na lang niya. No? Typically, ganun yung nangyayari. Hinuhold na lang niya, tapos until dalin siya sa mismong toilet, tsaka lang niya i-release. Now, when that child grows up, yung ganong environment ang kinalakihan niya, no? Yung hindi siya inaalaw mag-release anytime he wants. What do you think will happen to the child? Talking about release, no? Because when you're growing up, you're going to be filled with so much emotions. Tingin nyo, yung bata na to, na nagkaroon ng disengagement ng anal stage, tingin nyo, pagdating sa releasing of emotions, releasing of thoughts, komportable kaya siya? Probably not, no? Kasi nung nag-try siyang mag-release before, nag-try siyang mag-let out ng mga stuff that is happening inside of him or her before when nandito siya sa stage na to, he was met with rejection. So, malamang this child will grow up na laging kinikimkim yung mga sama ng loob, laging kinikimkim yung mga thoughts niya, yung hindi siya masyadong pala share. Probably even the positive things that are happening in him or even the positive qualities na meron siya, malamang hindi rin niya i-share. No? The next stage naman is the phallic stage. It happens when the child is 3 to 6 years old. Pansin nyo, during this stage, preschool age na yan. So, nagsisimula na silang maki-interact, hindi lang doon sa kapitbahay o sa playdate na sineset up ng mommy, pero pati na rin doon sa mga random children na nakilala nila sa classroom. Now, boys are more attached to their mother at this age, while girls are more attached to their fathers. I don't know if you've heard about the Oedipus complex or the Electra complex. Yung Oedipus complex, it came from a Greek mythology, si Oedipus na in-love siya sa nanay niya. So yun yun. Pagka yung boy ay mas attached sa kanilang nanay, then that's called Oedipus complex. Pagka naman yung girls ay attached sa kanilang father, that's Electra complex. Now, why am I talking about this? Ito kasi yung portion that they are forming attachment. No? Very important ang attachment ng bata sa parents nila. Now, paano pagka walang attachment? Paano kapag yung sinisik nila na love from this primary caregiver is not being given? Halimbawa, yung mommy, very busy, or kundi man, hindi siya ready na magkaroon ng anak at that point, kaya hindi niya rin mabigay yung whatever emotional needs ang kailangan ng bata. Probably naman yung tatay ay detached, di ba? Nonchalant, sabi nga nila, gano'n. So, parang walang pakialam. Now, growing up, this child will seek what? Etong child na to ay magsisik ng validation at attachment from other people. Kaya yung sinasabi nila na, ay, eto may daddy issues to, ganyan, kaya gusto niya older man na maging boyfriend, kahit 18 pa lang siya, gusto niya mga 30. Ayun yung pinanggalingan nito, no? Kasi wala siyang na-form na secure attachment from the parent of the opposite sex nung siya ay bata pa. This also could be the reason kung bakit may mga tao na hindi makaalis sa abusive relationship. 'Di ba, halimbawa, lumaki siya, yung batang babae ay lumaki na sinasaktan ng kanyang tatay, naabuso. Physically, sinasaktan siya, grabe siya kung i-punish. Pero ang mindset ng bata, this is my parent and he's supposed to love me. Ngayon, ang matatama mo sa isip niya is that, this is how I'm supposed to be loved. No? Ganito pala ang ma-love, no? Ganito pala ang magmahal. Kasi itong taong to na dapat nagmamahal sa akin, ganito ang ginagawa. Very innocent ang bata, no? So wala rin siya namang pang kukumparahan. Wala rin siyang ibang standard. So lalaki siya na thinking that pagka sinasaktan ako, ibig sabihin mahal ako. No? Pagka sinasaktan ako, ibig sabihin nagki-care for me. Kasi ganun siya napalaki. Ganun yung relationship niya with the parent of the opposite sex eh. So, kaya may mga ibang babae that even though they are in a very abusive relationship, this could probably one of the reasons why they cannot go. Why they cannot go out of that relationship. Kasi nga, naniniwala sila na mahal ako eh. Or baka, magbibigay sila ng other reasons. We will go into different defense mechanisms kapag meron tayong mga issues with attachment, issues with relationships. Now, punta naman tayo sa latency stage. So, 6 years old to puberty. So, grade 1 na to hanggang high school. Now, puberty is the time when all of our secondary sex characteristics are happening or nagpapakita na. Anong ibig sabihin nun, 'di ba? Ito na yung nakaka-experience tayo ng surge sa hormones, bodily changes, may mga lumalaki, may mga tumutubo sa katawan, 'di ba? May biglang buhok dito, may buhok sa ganyan, right? So ito na yung time na ang gulo na. I don't know if it happened to you also, pero puberty could be very daunting pagdating sa personality ng isang tao because you're trying to figure out that you're no longer a child pero you're not yet an adult. So you're somewhere in between. Plus nga, ito ng mga changes na nangyari sa katawan natin. Then, it's also the time na we want to establish a certain identity. So all of these things are happening. Now, what happens at this stage pagdating sa perspective ni Freud? Sabi niya, children spend more time and interact mostly with same-sex peers. Pansinin niyo, I want you to look back at your barkadas when you were in grade 1, grade 6, di ba? Mas trip natin na kung girls lang ang magkakasama. Actually, puberty pala is 12 to 13 years old. So, hanggang mga first year high school lang. Ganun. Or grade 6. Right? So, pansin nyo, yung mga gusto nyong kasama lang ay yung mga pareho nyong girl, di ba? Lalaro kayo ng mga Barbie, lalaro kayo ng kung ano-ano. Yung mga boys din, sila yung magkakasama, pinag-uusapan nila, yung Minecraft, Roblox, mga ganon. All the things that only them could understand. Now, to give you an example, there was a kid in kindergarten na pinatawag yung nanay kasi nanuntok. Babae ito nanuntok siya. Tinuntok niya yung kaklase niya na boy. Now, nagpunta yung mommy niya sa school to ask kung bakit, ganyan, kung anong nangyari. Hindi pa kasi sinabi agad na nanuntok eh. Nung nandun na siya, nun niya nalaman. So, when it was just the mom and the child na they were going home after that attention na pinatawag ng nanay, sabi nung nanay, anak, what happened? Bakit mo sinuntok yung classmate mo? Ngayon, the child said, Mama, kasi we are playing in the play area. Diba, ang mga preschool, may play area, mayroong library, may mga ganun-ganun silang spots. Spots lang naman sa classroom. Now, there is this boy, sweet boy, na gustong sumali. Ang rule nilang, mga girls ay all girls lang. Ngayon, here comes the boy na gusto ko sumali. So, ang ginawa niya, she took it to her own hands, no? Ngayon, tinanong nung nanay, sabi niya, dapat sinabi mo man lang muna sa teacher mo. Sabi niya, sinabi ko, mama, pero nung una, umalis naman si Matthew, pero balik siya ng balik. So, nakulitan yung bata. Sinuntok niya ngayon yung lalaki. No? Actually, nung pinatawag yung nanay, mamula-mula pa yung bata kasi sunduan time yun eh. Ayun, because that's not something to laugh about kasi napakasiga. Pero, if you think about it, that's a very good proof of this stage. 'Di ba? Gusto natin, we spend more time and interact lang with the same sex, mga girls, mga boys, ganun lang. Now, paano kung ang isang bata ay nag-transfer? Halimbawa, transfer siya. And this happens a lot. I'm not saying that it happens every single day. Pero may mga instances na ganito, nag-move yung family or bago siya sa school. What if yung bata ay nabully ng mga kaklase? Kasi magkakasama na, no? Grade 3, halimbawa siya nag-transfer. Yung mga kaklase niya ay magkakasama na, grade 1 pa lang. So, meron ng familiarity. Now, punta siya doon kahit wala namang hindi maganda sa kanya o wala naman siyang pangit na ginagawa. Siya yung nasi-single out. Now, naging subject siya sa bullying. What do you think will happen pag laki ng batang to, no? Siguro, she will get over it eventually, na magiging friends din niya yung mga taong to. Pero, it could be the reason why kapag kami nasa isang bagong lugar siya or she's traveling to a new place, there is so much anxiety. Kaya it could be the reason why kapag ka siya ay nasa harap ng crowd or nasa stage to perform or to say something, her heart is racing, tapos talagang may palpitations, meron siyang na-anxious. 'Di ba? Dahil nga, because of that previous experience before. Again, yung mga experience na to, probably sinabi niya, hindi, okay na ako, friends na kami ng mga nambully sa akin. But it is buried where? Deep down in our unconscious. Remember si Freud dito, no? Yung mga hurts natin, yung mga traumas, yung mga unfulfilled wishes, mga hindi nag-gratify sa buhay natin ay nandun sa ating unconscious, nakalibing, nakabury doon, no? Now, hindi nga natin alam because unconscious nga, pero it is a driving force of who we are. Kaya sinasabi ni Freud, kaya ka ganyan, no? Ngayong lumaki ka na. Dahil nga, ito yung mga na-experience mo noon. Hindi ka lang aware na nakabury. Okay? Now, when we go to the genital stage, that's beyond puberty. Ito na yung 13, 14, and above. No, siguro nandito pa kayo ngayon. Individuals are attracted to opposite sex peers. And this is very normal. Pagdating nyo ng high school, napansin nyo ba na mas open na kayo or mas welcoming na kayo sa mga barkadahan na hindi lang kayo puro girls, no? Masaya rin yung may tropa kang boy o kung boys naman kayo, masaya rin may mga girls sa grupo, ganyan, tropa-tropa. Right? This is the time and that is very natural for it to happen na magkaganon. Now, I always say to my students that you have to be very careful with your first boyfriend, first love, mga ganyan. First boyfriend, sige, yung magko-commit ka talaga, o first girlfriend. Why? Because whether you like it or not, may epekto sa mga future relationships mo. 'Di ba? Bakit? Kapag ka ikaw ay niloko, pagka ikaw ay sinaktan, halimbawa, ng bonggang-bongga ng iyong first na jowa, malamang you will carry that scar, no, when you go to another relationship. I don't know if you will agree with me, pero sa totoo lang, kapag ka nagkaroon ka ng panibagong relationship, you look for the things that you were not able to see in the past relationship. Minsan nga, even if you're in the new relationship, minsan nag-e-echo pa sa atin the hurtful words that were said to us dun sa past relationship. Kung ano man yung mga masasakit na sinabi, parang andun pa rin, naririnig pa rin natin sa isip natin when we are talking to the new guy or to the new girl. Right? So, nakita niyo yung sinasabi ni Freud, kapag nagkaroon ka ng issue or unfulfilled portion dito sa mga stages na to, later on in life, you will find ways on how to fulfill it. Okay? Ngayon, all of these stages, the fulfillment or non-fulfillment, yung engagement or disengagement, is very much affected by the relationship that we have sa bawat stage. Pansin nyo? Now, let me tell you a very brief story about a man who came for counseling. So, siya ay mga mid-20s na. He came in for counseling kasi gusto niyang malaman why he turned out to be gay. Not that it's bad, no? Actually, okay naman siya na siya ay gay. Tanggap din naman niya yung sarili niya. Tanggap na rin naman siya ng family niya. Gusto lang niyang malaman. No? So, the therapist or the psychologist, coming from the perspective of Freud, sabi niya, balikan natin yung mga nangyari in your past. So, ngayon, pina-recall niya dun sa tao or dun sa guy na kung ano yung mga nangyari sa kanya in the past. So, habang nagre-recall siya, meron siyang 3 very important events in his life that he was able to pinpoint. So, the first one would be, nung sila ay maliliit pa lang, 5 silang magkakapatid, siya ang bunso. No? So, puro babae yung mga kapatid niya. Pero walang factor, hindi naman factor kasi sinasabi nila puro babae kasi yung kasama, ganun, kaya naging gay. Pero, ito yung nangyari, no? One time, when they were children pa lang, they were asked to go to a sari-sari store. As you go to the sari-sari store, you have to walk. Pero dun sa lalakaran nilang magkakapatid, papunta dun sa store, there's a house with a dog na nanghahabol, nangangagat, no? So, nakakakaba. It's a thrill kapag pupunta ka sa tindahan at uuwi ka. Now, there was a time na nagising yung aso nung pauwi na sila. Galing nga dun sa sari-sari store. So, ang nangyari, bilang siya ay boy, siya ang pinakamaliit at ang mabilis siya, kumari pa siya ng takbo pa uwi, no? That time, galit na galit yung tatay niya kasi iniwan niya yung mga ate niya na nagtatatakbo din from the dog. Pero siya yung unang nakarating. So, nagagalit yung tatay niya. Sabi ng tatay niya, ano ba yan? Sabi niya, ba't mo iniwan yung mga ate mo? Lalaki ka pa naman. So, that was the first line. That was the first thing that made an impact on him. Ibig sabihin, parang nun siya nagkaroon ng fear of the responsibilities of being a man. Parang, ay, lalaki ako, tapos di ko nagawa. Parang ganon. Now, growing up, syempre nung nasa puberty stage na siya, this is the second event, no, na naalala niya. Nung lumalaki na siya, he was exploring his sexuality, ganyan. So, natuto na siyang mag-masturbate. Sorry for the term, pero I'm just relaying to you the story. Now, there was one time na he's doing the act sa CR. Remember, puro girls yung mga kapatid niya, no? Tapos, when he already ejaculated, nung tapos na siya, biglang merong banging on the door. Sabi nung ate niya, bilisan mo, ing-ina ako. Nagpanic siya, no? Parang hindi niya alam yung gagawin niya kasi nakakahiya, mauhuli siya, nahuli na siya. Ganon, anong gagawin niya sa panic niya, lumabas na lang siya. As in, straight-faced, lumabas. No? Kasi, hindi niya alam yung gagawin niya, tapos nagpapanik na siya, yung ate niya ay hihina. Ngayon, he was not able to clean up after the masturbation. Ngayon, syempre, alam niyo naman, ang mga girls, pag uupo, pag-iihi, nakaupo, no? Ibig sabihin, natatakot siya, nandun siya sa labas lang ng CR, and he was so afraid na dahil hindi siya nakapaglinis at naupuan ng ate niya, natatakot siya ngayon na baka mabuntis niya yung ate niya. I know it's funny kasi we all know na hindi naman gano'n nabubuntis, no? Yung pag naupuan mo yung sperm ay mabubuntis ka na. Pero being a child, no, nandun nga pa nga lang siya sa puberty, in-explore pa lang niya, hindi pa niya naiintindihan. Hindi naman niya alam, hindi niya mabubuntis yung ate niya. So nag-overthink na siya, naisip na niya paano yung palalakihin yung bata, paano ngayon yung sasabihin ng mga kapitbahay. So sobrang dami na niyang naisip, no? And that's the second event kung saan naman natakot siya sa tendencies niya as a man. Natakot siya na pwede palang mangyari, pwede ko palang magawa. Alright? Now, the third event is this. So, nung adolescent na siya, lumalaki na, napansin na ng tatay na medyo parang malambot yata yung anak ko. Sabi nga, daling ko nga sa gym. Kadinala niya sa gym. Behave naman siya, hindi naman siya nagtitili sa gym. Okay, hindi naman siya ginawa niya. Tinry naman niya, in fairness, he tried his best, no, na talagang mag-gym din, ganyan. Pero one time, during his muni-muni, he was resting, he was looking at all this muscular man. Alam nyo, nasabi niya sa sarili niya na-realize niya, hindi ko kayang maging katulad nila. I will never be like them. Sabi niya ganun. I need someone like them. And those 3 events sa buhay niya, ang na-recall niya na very significant na nag-contribute kung bakit siya gay. Okay? Again, hindi naman niya minamasama. Gusto lang niyang maalala. And nasa kanya rin yung sagot. No? Doon sa mga stages na pinagdaanan niya, doon sa mga events na meron siya sa buhay, at yung role ng mga tao sa paligid niya. So I hope that's clear. Sana naunawaan natin kung ano yung ibig iparating ni Freud. Ngayon, this is in contrast naman with the fact na even though you have a bitter past, pwede kang gumawa ng sarili mong path for the future. 'Di ba? Pero mayroong mga ganong mentality or mindset right now, and there's nothing wrong about it. It's beautiful. Sinasabi nila that you don't have to blame your past for everything that happens. Pero sinasabi ni Freud, whether you like it or not, the past experiences that you had will have an effect later on in life. Medyo mahaba yun, no? So, iklian na lang natin si Charles Horton Cooley. He's the second guy. Sabi niya, he asserted that people's self-understanding is constructed in part by their perception of how others view them. A process termed the looking glass self. Pag sinabi natin looking glass self, what are we talking about? We're talking about a mirror, diba? Looking glass. Now, I want you to look at his quote. Sabi niya, I'm not who you think I am. I am not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I am. So, hindi ako yung iniisip mong ako, no? Hindi rin ako yung iniisip kong ako. Alam niyo kung paano ko ma-form yung kung sino talaga ako. It's how I think you think I am. Kung paano ko ini-interpret yung reactions nyo sa akin, kung paano ko ini-interpret yung mga nangyayari sa paligid ko. Kaya importante, then again, ang socialization, then importante, again, yung mga ka-interact natin, yung mga social relationship na meron tayo. Kasi yun ang ginagamit natin, sabi ni Charles Horton Cooley, in order to see who we really are. To be very specific, ito yung steps na nangyayari, no? Una, we imagine how we appear to others. Next, we interpret other people's reactions. And then, we develop a self-concept. Lagi naman, no? People always expect a particular reaction. When we go into a party, kapag tayo sasakay ng jeep, meron lagi at lagi tayong in-expect na particular reaction. Kung positive, edi good. Pero pag negative, then we feel very sad about it or we feel offended. Depende no, sa magiging reaction natin. Pero lagi at lagi, sinasabi ni Cooley, meron tayong ina-expect na reaction. So Cooley believed that the self is not only based on some inner source of identity. So hindi lang sa soul nakabase, no? Pero yung mga interaction natin sa paligid. Like for example, you dressed up for a party. Tapos biglang you really feel good about it, diba? It's what you think na parang, I'm gonna be the most beautiful girl in the crowd, mga ganyan. Tapos, ngayon, dumating ka and you went to your friends. One of your friends who's very expressive, wala siyang masyadong reaction. So, parang, hindi yata nagustuhan ng friend ko, yung damit ko, no? So, what will I do then? In-interpret ko kung ano yung itsura niya, kung ano yung reaction niya sa akin. So, I'll think na, baka hindi talaga maganda yung suot ko. Nakita nyo? Na-imagine ko how I would appear to others. For example, ako yun. Tapos, biglang, nung nag-react sila, in-interpret ko naman. And my interpretation, yun yung naging basis kung paano ko titignan ngayon yung sarili ko. Do you see it? No? It's not who you think I am. Baka naman wala lang talagang sa mood yung friend ko, kaya hindi siya masyadong nag-react nung nakita niya yung outfit ko. Ganon. It's not who you think I am. It's not who I think I am. Wala rin kinalaman na I feel that as if I'm the most pormado na tao dun sa party. Pero, it's who I think you think I am. Ibig sabihin, ang nagmamatter ay kung paano ko i-interpret yung iniisip mo towards me, regardless kung ano yung iniisip mo talaga or kung ano talaga yung iniisip ko. Then, from that interpretation, I will form a sense of self or a self-concept. Okay? Biglang tapos na si Cooley, punta na tayo kay Mead, George Herbert Mead. He studied the self, a person's distinct identity that is developed through social interaction. In order to engage in this process of self, an individual has to be able to view him or herself through the eyes of others. Kayo narinig nyo na ba yung putting yourself in someone else's shoes? No? Hindi yun yung, pahiram naman ng shoes mo, magka-size tayo. It's not like that. Pero you try to see things in their own perspective. Ilalagay mo yung sarili mo kung nasan sila para makita mo yung kung saan sila nanggagaling. Okay, sabi ni Herbert Mead, ganun natin fino-form kung sino talaga tayo. We empathize with other people. Tinitignan natin how things work from their perspective. Then we form a sense of self. So how does it work? He divided the self into two. Sabi niya, merong I, tapos merong me. Okay, both pronouns actually denote the self, 'di ba? Pero ano yung pinagkaiba nila? Pag sinabing I, it's the subjective element of the active side of this and the active side of the self. It represents the spontaneous and unique traits of the individual. Ito yung mga bagay na alam mo, very subjective to you, very personal, no? Things that you know about who you really are. Now, the second division is me. Okay? The objective element of the self that represents the internalized attitudes and demands of other people and the individual's awareness of those demands. So, ito naman, yung perspective ng self na to, or the division of the self in this part is more on the outside, di ba? Outsider perspective, yung mga demands sa labas, gano'n. For example, ikaw, alam mo naman na hindi mo talaga favorite ang math at talagang pag math, medyo hindi mo maintindihan kung anong nangyayari sa earth. No? Pero, ang expectation ng mga magulang mo, halimbawa ay, isa kang math wizard, no? Kaya yan, no? Kaya mo iuno mo yung mathematics in the modern world, mga ganon. Now, hindi nagmamatch ngayon yung I versus the me. Hindi nagmamatch yung alam mo sa sarili mo versus yung mga iniisip ng mga tao sa'yo ay mga demands na meron sila about you. So, nagkakaroon ngayon ng conflict between the two divisions of the self. So, pagka nangyari yun, then, who suffers? Diba? Your mental health, diba? Your condition, your well-being is also suffering. Kasi ang gagawin mo, you will try to, to not to sleep so that you can prove that you're a math wizard. Pero in reality, hindi talaga kakayanin, no? Now, sabi ni Mead, kapag itong I and the me are actually in line with one another, ibig sabihin, united sila, yung alam mo sa sarili mo, tsaka yung expectations ng mga tao sa paligid mo, or yung mga iniisip ng mga tao sa paligid mo ay pareho lang, no? Walang pretension, walang high demands. The full development of the self is attained when the I and the me are united. Pagka sila ay naglalapat, walang problema, no? You will be able to recognize the real you. You will be able to recognize who you really are. Ang problema, kapag hindi nga nagmamatch, kanino ka maniniwala, no? O sino ang susundin mo? Now, meron din siyang binigay na stages of development, pero ito more on the early stages lang. The first one is the preparatory stage, the age of 0 to 3 years old. Kapag 0 to 3 ang mga bata, napakagaling manggaya, 'di ba? Kaya nga, andali natin silang turuan ng mga songs, ng mga words, ganun. Kasi, napakadali lang. They would mimic you kahit hindi nila naiintindihan kung ano yung sinasabi. Nakakalungkot lang kasi yung iba, ang unang tinuturo ay mura, ganun. Sabi mo ganito, puro kalokohan. Now, wala kang magiging problema kasi nga, ipaparot lang nila kaya nilang ulitin lang kung ano yung sinabi mo. Now, children are only capable of imitation. The children are only preparing for role-taking. Ibig sabihin, ang mga bata at this age ay talagang gagayahin lang. When you say, mama, diba? Hindi pa nila naiintindihan why is it being copied. Hindi pa nila naiintindihan yung ibig sabihin. Lalo kapag yung mas early age, diba? Yung mga 0 to 2, mga ganon. Pero very important that children learn to imitate at this age. Kasi nagpe-prepare na sila for role-taking. Again, role-taking is an act of putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Diba sabi ni Mead, ganun natin na-form yung pagiging kung sino tayo. Now, the next stage will be the play stage, 3 to 5 years old. So, at this point, children begin to take on the role that another person might have. So, ibig sabihin, naiintindihan na nila na, ay, ginagaya ko to kasi ito yung ito yung role na dapat ginagampanan niya. Let me give you a funny example. Now, there's this kid na breastfed siya, exclusively breastfed from 2 years, 8 months. So, almost 3, no? Ang tagal. Now, wala siyang konsepto ng feeding bottle. Kasi nga, exclusively breastfed siya since the beginning of time. Now, merong nag-gift sa kanya ng baby alive. Alam niyo ba yun, yung umiiyak, yung baby na nagbo-burp, ganyan. Ngayon, during the first time that the baby was there, tapos umiyak, sabi ng mga tao sa paligid, uy, ano, patahanin mo. And the babies at this stage, no, yung mga 3 to 5 na, alam na nila na pag umiyak ang bata ay nagugutom. 'Di ba? So, ang gagawin dapat doon kay baby alive ay bibigyan ng feeding bottle. Pero you know what this child did? Kasi nga nagugutom, de pa dedehin. Ang ginawa niya, instead of getting that feeding bottle, inangat niya yung t-shirt niya, yung sando niya pala, tapos pinadede niya yung pinadede niya si baby alive dun sa kanyang breast. No, kasi nga, yun yung alam niya, yun yung naiintindihan niya. It's the role of the mommy to comfort the child through the milk. And this is the way that the milk is produced. Kaya naman, ganun yung ginawa niya. So, medyo na-incorporate na niya yung mga role na meron. Now, going to the last one, the game stage. School age na, so mas better na yung understanding, mas malawak na yung mga naiintindihan ng bata. So during this stage, children learn to consider several roles at the same time and how those roles interact with each other. Ngayon, mas naiintindihan na nila na, halimbawa sa larong restaurant, may ganun na. Okay, so merong waiter, merong mag-order, merong chef. So pupuntahan ni waiter yung mag-order, yung customer, bale. Tapos kukunin yung order, ipapasa kay chef. Si chef naman magluluto-luto. Iba't ibang bata to Tapos pagkaluto ni chef, ibibigay, isa-serve. Mamaya-maya magbabayad na yung customer. Pupunta naman si cashier, ibibigay yung bill. Now, naiintindihan na ng bata na pagka pinerform ko yung role ko, I'm not only doing it na walang apektado. Ibig sabihin, naiintindihan na niya that each role na meron sa society affects the other roles too. 'Di ba? Nag-work nag-interact yung mga roles natin sa bawat isa. 'Di ba? Kahit hospital or dentist, ganun din. Yung bawat role na meron ng bawat tao na ginagampanan ay nakakaapekto sa ginagampanang role ng ibang tao din. So as we understand other people from their perspective, sabi ni Mead, we are forming the concept of the generalized other. This means that people, or by role-taking, ang mga tao ay natututong mag-adjust at mag-adapt in the social exchanges that we have. So those are the 3 guys, no? In summary, sabi dito, the self is a product of social interaction. Actually, kung tignan nyo yung 3 theories, marami pang theory pero sila lang yung highlight natin. Kung titignan nyo sila at babalikan nyo yung 3 guys na to, makikita natin na no, it is proven that yung pagkatao natin, yung kung sino tayo ngayon is a product of the interactions that we have, whether in the past or in the present. The sense of self emerges as the individual partakes in the society. So, doon natin mas nakikilala ang sarili natin kapag we use other people in order to reflect or when we interact with other people. Lastly, I just want to give a very quick view of this quote. Sabi, the self as a product of postmodern society. The self daw is a product of the society that we have now. Now, whether we like it or not, yung society natin ngayon is very much driven by not the needs of this world na nga but the wants. 'Di ba? We would rather go parang cashless for many months basta ikaw ay merong bagong iPhone 13. At kahit nga hindi natin inaamin, pero we remember people by the material things that they have. Ay, yun yung may kotse, no? Yun yung may Lamborghini. Doon natin naaalala instead of who they really are. So, sinasabi ng quote na to, na yung self natin, the sense of self that we have right now is actually very much affected by the type of society na meron tayo, which is the postmodern society. Masyado tayong naka-anchor sa mga material stuff, sa prestige na binibigay ng mga material stuff. Minsan nga hindi naman na natin kailangan, pero dahil yun yung uso yun yung trending, no? Yun yung sa society, it will make you be It will make you accepted. It will make you more respected kapag ginawa to. So, dapat makuha ko. O dapat meron ako niyan. And another thing is that aside from this society is very much driven by the wants and the prestige that it gives, ang nangyayari din, we are very much driven by the social media. It's very powerful, no? The tool of social media. I'm sure it has been proven in your life na may napakalakas na influence ng social media. Kung sino yung mga fina-follow nyo, kung sino yung mga lumalabas sa feed nyo. Kaya ngayon, no, sa generation na to, ang daming insecurities ng mga babae dahil ang dami naman ding Instagrammable bodies, Instagrammable faces, talagang walang pores, 'di ba? Instagrammable hair, everything na Instagrammable. Pero sa totoo lang, meron naman talagang Photoshop, 'di ba? Ang nangyayari is, we tend to compare ourselves and our lives dun sa mga nakikita natin sa social media, which is, sa totoo lang, yung iba, very unrealistic din. Hindi ba? Now, the danger is that kapag in-anchor natin naman masyado yung self natin with this postmodern society, we tend to lose ourselves in the process. 'Di ba? Kung sino ba talaga tayo? Baka naman mamaya hindi naman talaga afford nung budget natin, pero dahil nga may gusto tayong patunayan, may gusto tayong ma-achieve na status, gagawin natin. Nakakalimutan natin kung ano ba talaga tayo, kung sino ba talaga tayo, ano ba talaga yung priorities natin. Because we are so caught up na makasabay dun sa trends na binibigay sa atin ng society. So don't fall into that trap, no? We have to understand na kahit tayo ay affected ng society na ginagalawan natin, you are still your own person, 'di ba? You still have your own decisions. Kilalanin mabuti yung sarili mo na hindi mo makakalimutan naman kung sino ka talaga dahil sa kagustuhan mong sumabay sa kung ano yung uso, 'di ba? So you can conform and you have the choice kung hindi mo trip mag-conform. You always have a choice. That's my reminder to you as I end. No matter what the society dictates, 'di ba? You always have a choice kung ano yung mga papapasukin yung influence sa buhay nyo. Right? Kung afford naman, kung for personal development naman, I mean, why not? 'Di ba? Pero if it allows you to forget who you really are, then it's not worth the risk. 'Di ba? You have to stay true to yourself. You have to stay true to who you really are because it's very difficult to live a life of lies and deceit. So that's it. I hope meron kayong natutunan dito sa sociological perspective. Have a great day.